Hello everyone. Hi guys. How are you doing today? Today, as you can see, I have a very, very special guest. The most special guest I have ever had on my channel. It is my baby. This is my son. I would like to introduce you to Éomer, which I don't even feel I should have to say, but people be naming their kids weird things out there, so not his real government name. I feel like that's obvious. I wanted to call him Astarion as his online name, and my partner said no because Astarion is mean. So he shot that down. So we went with Éomer because we're both big Lord of the Rings fans. So this is him. He is 3 weeks old and he is just the best. Today I thought that I would share our birth story with you all. I feel like everyone likes a good birth story, and I am excited to share mine because it isn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't what I expected it to be, but it ended up being a very positive experience. And if any of you out there are hoping to give birth one day or going to give birth and maybe you're nervous, then I think it's nice to share a positive story. I think you can never have too many positive stories. They definitely helped me a lot when I was feeling nervous about giving birth and labor and all that. I think hearing like normal positive stories really helped me. So to start, we have to go back to my 39-week appointment and then to the 3rd trimester of pregnancy, like the last month. You go to the doctor like every week. So I felt like a revolving door of doctor's appointments. Felt like I would... Oh. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I was in and out of the doctor constantly, and at the end, you don't really do a lot. You just, like at my doctor at least, it was go in, leave a urine sample, get weighed, have your blood pressure taken, and if you had any questions for the doctor, discuss thoughts and concerns. And for me, I had a really okay. Sorry. He's not asleep yet, but he's falling asleep. I had a really healthy, normal pregnancy, no concerns, no complications. So for me, everything was always normal, and they were very quick. But at the end, somewhere about 37 weeks, they start asking if you want to get a cervical check and basically see how far along you are, like how dilated you are. These are optional, at least they were at my doctor. I've heard some people say that they were not, because they don't really give you that much information. Like, they can tell you how far dilated you are, but you could be 4 centimeters dilated and not give birth for another 2 weeks, or you could be 0 centimeters dilated and give birth the next day. So not an accurate depiction of when labor and birth is happening. And second, depending on the person, they can be really painful. So it's like, you don't necessarily need to put yourself in that pain for nothing, right? So I was saying no to those. My plan was that I would say no to them up to around my due date, because they don't really want you going past, they don't even want you getting to, I'm pretty sure, 42 weeks. 40 is your due date. So they prefer you give birth between or before 42 weeks, really. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe if I haven't given birth by then, at my like 40-week appointment, I could get like a membrane sweep, kind of push things along, that can kind of jumpstart labor if things are already starting to happen, but you have to be dilated for that. So I thought, okay, at my 39-week one, I'll finally accept a cervical check and just see, maybe it'll give me a little bit of information. Let me tell you, I regret doing that because it was indeed, for me, extremely painful. I did not enjoy it, and it felt like she was rooting around up there for like 5 solid minutes. Probably wasn't even a whole minute, but it lasted a while. And then when she was done, she was like, so you're closed, as in no dilation. I was like, okay, awesome. I'm so glad we did that for no reason. He was also very high up. He hadn't dropped down, no dilation, and I was somewhat effaced, which is like your cervix has to go like brrr, and the baby has to go brrr, and you have to go brrr, and then they come out. So it was like a little bit was happening, but there was no dilation. So I was like, awesome. Okay. And even though, as I said, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, I got really discouraged and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be pregnant forever. I'm never gonna give birth. I was born at like 42 weeks. Apparently back in the 90s they didn't care if women were really late, so I was incredibly late. And my mother was of advanced maternal age too, which they don't let you do these days. Like, they don't let advanced maternal age, like over 35s, go that long. So I was really convinced he would be very late too. So anyway, I go home and I'm like, whatever, I'll just write it off. We'll just take this one day at a time. 1, 2, 3, 3 days later, 3 nights later, I am sitting playing Baldur's Gate with 3 of my close friends. We've been playing Baldur's Gate regularly for a few weeks now with a new campaign. Really having a lot of fun. And I realized I am having pains. Feels like period cramps. And I don't know, at the end of pregnancy, you have so many random aches and pains that I kind of dismiss them. Like, I don't even register them. It's like pain is a little twinge here and there is like just a day in the life. So I was dismissing them. But after a while I thought, you know what? This is actually happening regularly. Maybe this is a contraction. I had been having Braxton Hicks contractions. They were totally painless. So this felt nothing like that. This literally just felt like a light period cramp. Like nothing to write home about. But I start timing them. They are indeed happening every 9 minutes on the dot. For 30 seconds on the dot. So I did what any normal, sane gamer would do. And I ignored it and I kept playing Baldur's Gate 3 because we were doing a fight. We were fighting those Duergar in the Underdark, and I had to lock in, okay? I couldn't let my party down. So we finish up maybe 45 minutes later, and I go to my partner's office because he's one of the people I'm playing with, of course. And I'm like, hey, don't freak out, but I am having regular pains. Why does this light keep turning off? I don't know why, but it only turns on for like 5 minutes, and I have to turn it back on. I'm having regular pains. I think it might be contractions. They're every 9 minutes. They're not really crazy painful. It's like more of an inconvenience. He immediately starts going, because I am still before my due date. I was maybe 39 weeks and like 3 days? 2 days. 39 weeks and 2 days at this point. So I'm like, there's no way I'm really in labor. It's probably false labor, but just in case, we'll make sure the bags are packed. So the bags were already packed, but there was like a couple of things that we needed to do last second, so we threw them in the bags and we went to sleep. I only slept for about 2 hours before the pain woke me up. They had clearly gotten more painful and I could no longer sleep. It was maybe 3 a.m. And so I thought, if I just lie here, I close my eyes and I'm really still, maybe I can fall back asleep, because at this point I'm thinking, okay, if it really is labor, I'm not sleeping for a long time, possibly months. I needed a sleep, and unfortunately, it did not come. I lay there for like 4 hours, just kind of, I would start getting a little tired, and then a contraction would come on, and I'd be like, So early in the morning, we start talking about like what to do. I'm still not 100% convinced it's real labor. I think I was gaslighting myself, because I had just had that appointment where I wasn't dilated at all, and I'm several days before my due date, so I'm like, it's fine. I'm like, go to work as normal. I'm just gonna chill today. I had literally filmed a new video the day before, so I was like, I'll edit. It'll just be chill. And then, not to be too graphic, but a couple hours later, I had what's called bloody show. Basically, just like some blood stuff comes out, and that's another sign labor is starting to happen. So with that, I was like, all right, maybe this is real. Call my doctor. They're like, I would go to labor and delivery to get checked out. So I'm thinking, okay. I didn't do it, because I had heard so many stories of people going to labor and delivery, and they were like, yep, the process is starting, but you need to go labor at home for a few hours and then come back. I just kind of wanted to avoid that, so I put it off for hours. Finally, about 4 p.m., the contractions were getting a little bit closer together, maybe like 6 to 8 minutes apart now, so I was like, I'll call labor and delivery, see what they want me to do. They said, yeah, just be safe, come on in and get checked out. So at this point I'm like, all right, we should go. They really weren't that painful, but we decided to go. We rock up. I'm fully expecting to be sent right home, but just in case, we were like, took pictures of my stomach and all that, because I was like, what if this is the last time we're in this house without a baby? So just in case. The car seat was all ready to go. I go up, they put me in a triage room to check me out. They're taking my blood pressure, looking me over, doing a cervical check. I was 1 centimeter dilated now, just 1, but I guess something had happened. But one of the nurses says, have you had a history of high blood pressure during this pregnancy? I was like, no, literally not once. Very, very normal, healthy blood pressure the whole pregnancy. She goes, it's really high. Like, it's really high. I looked at it and it was way higher than my baseline. And they were like, we're gonna call in some doctors, they're gonna look at you too, but they were like, I can't say for sure, but prepare to stay. They're probably gonna keep you because of your high blood pressure. So I was like, oh, that was unexpected. So doctor comes in, I think that's when they checked me and I was 1 centimeter, and she goes, I do want to keep you and induce you because of your high blood pressure, just to be safe. They're going to speed the labor process along. Now, I did not want an induction. It was like one of the #1 things on my birth plan. I really wanted to avoid an induction. I'd heard so many horror stories, especially from people I personally know. They didn't go well. They ended up in C-sections, blah, 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 blah. So I was very, very nervous about that, but I respect doctors and I listen to doctors, and I said, okay, if you think I should be induced, I will go ahead, let's do that. So they gave me a dose of what's called miso. I couldn't stop thinking of miso soup. They gave me a dose of miso about 6 p.m. And they're like, all right, we're gonna let that sit and take effect. Sit tight, eat, rest. We're gonna check you again in 4 hours and see what that's done. And that was supposed to fully efface me, I think, or something. Because I was only like 70%, and they wanted to get me to 100% and see if any dilation happened. So I got some food. It was really bad. I sat on the birthing ball. I walked around, basically tried to just keep moving, stay active. Finally, about 10 p.m., they come check me again. They're like, oh, nothing happened. At this point, I start getting really worried. I'm like, nothing happened in 4 hours? Are you serious? And I thought, oh no, I'm gonna be here a while. And I asked, hey, how long does this take on average for a first-time mom? They were like, on average, 1 to 3 days. I'm like, 1 to 3 days before I give birth? Oh my god, I don't want to be here that long laboring. So I immediately start manifesting a fast, safe, relatively pain-free birth. I really do believe in kind of the power of positivity. I think it helps you stay calm, and I'm kind of an anxious person. I'm a very anxious person. So immediately I'm like, calm. This is going to be so fast. 24 hours from now, I'm going to be holding my baby. It's going to be great. So I start telling myself that. They're like, we're going to double your next miso dose now. So they doubled my miso dose. And I settle in, or try to settle in for the night. And I think maybe like half hour in, I remember thinking, there's no way I'm sleeping again tonight, because they're even more painful and uncomfortable than I was the night before. But I will say, nothing was like so incredibly painful at this point that I was like, you know, screaming or crying or anything. I would say they were like a 5 to a 6 on the pain scale. But it was enough for me to not be able to fall asleep, because I would maybe start to sleep and then wake up. Start to sleep and then wake up. So I'm lying there, trying to just rest. My body, at the very least, hooked up to all these machines. You know, there's like machines that are measuring my contractions, ones that are measuring his heart rate, my heart rate, and there's also a blood pressure cuff on my arm that takes my blood pressure every 45 minutes or something like that. And it was always high, so it would always start beeping really loudly, and no one would ever come turn it off, so we had to learn how to mute it ourselves. Anyway, I'm lying there, and I feel a pop inside me. I swear I hear it too, but I don't know if I made that up or not. I don't know if it's because it happened inside me that I tricked my brain into thinking I heard it. But it sounded and felt like a balloon popped inside me. And I had heard that's what your water breaking feels like. So I immediately was like, oh my god, my water just broke. Just to verify, I stood up. I kind of expected like a gush. And it was kind of more of a trickle that turned into a steady stream. And I kind of like hobbled to the bathroom to try to not get amniotic fluid all over the floor, because there's a drain in the bathroom. But I'm like, I'm waking my partner up at this point, like, hey, my water just broke, let's call the nurse. Amazing nurses, by the way. Oh my god. I called her in, and I'm like, pretty sure my water broke. She has me lay back down, checks, like, yep, your water has broke, and you are 2 centimeters dilated now. I think it was 2. I wrote down notes. I should be looking at the notes. So she's like, not only, you know, did your water break, but now things are actually happening. Sorry, he breathes so loudly. I apologize. It's cute though, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, we wrote it down. Double miso dose. Yeah, 2 centimeters dilated. So at this point, it's about 12:30, 1 a.m. I think it's about 12:30. And I had heard that once your water breaks, contractions get really bad, really fast. So So she was like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling like epidural? And I'm like, it's epidural time. So because I had high blood pressure, they needed to like run labs on me real fast and like give me fluids or something via the IV. So it was a little while before I could get it, probably like an hour. And that was the worst part of the whole labor. My contractions almost immediately ramped up to like a 9-10 on the pain scale. And at this point, I started shaking really hard. Whenever I had one, my whole body would like lock up and shake. I'm not like a screaming in pain person. I'm like a lock up, can't talk, can't do anything kind of person when I'm in pain. So I know I was like really out of it. And that whole hour kind of went by in a painful blur. But then the beautiful lady came in with the epidural cart, and I won't lie, it was a little painful going in, but I was in so much pain otherwise that I was like, yeah, it's kind of a drop in the bucket. I know what it looks like. I'm not thinking about it. Relief will come soon. Did not come as soon as I thought it would. I thought like, oh, 10 minutes from now I'll be feeling better. It took a good 30 to 50 minutes for it to fully kick in. But when it kicked in, it was magic. Oh my god. For me, I felt nothing. I could not feel from my hips down. That immediately scared me because I thought, oh my god, how am I gonna push? I literally can't feel anything down there. The nurse is helping me because she wanted me to sleep with or rest with the peanut ball between my legs, really open like my hips up. I think it helped a lot. So she's helping me get situated with that. You good? Okay, we're good. She's helping me get situated with that, and like she's having to move my legs because I literally can't feel them. So that was crazy. After that, okay, sorry. After that, I was finally able to get some sleep. I felt no pain at that point, like literally nothing. I couldn't even tell I was having contractions anymore, but I could see them on the monitor. But I was finally able to sleep, and I just slept and slept. At about 4:30 in the morning, the nurse woke me up and was like, I'm gonna do another check. And I was like, oh, I forgot to say that when I got the epidural, I was 4 centimeters dilated. So between 12:30 to 2, I went up from 2 to 4 centimeters. 4:45, she wakes me up. She's like, I'm gonna check you again. 9 centimeters dilated. He's in shock. 9 centimeters dilated. And I was like, oh my god, it worked. The fast birth that I manifested is happening. So she's like, honestly, I think you're ready to have a baby. Let's do some practice pushes. I started doing she shows me how to do some practice pushes. And she very quickly is like, okay, he doesn't like that. He's stressed out. Hold on there real quick. I'm just like vibing, just kind of sitting there. Before I know it, there's like 8 people in my room. Doctors, nurses, like everyone on call is in my room. And at that point I was like, wait, what is happening? And at that moment, she's like giving me an oxygen mask, and she's like, lie on your side, start breathing the oxygen. So I do as she says, and I was like, turn over. I'm able to see the monitor again, and I saw that his heart rate had plummeted, and that's why they called everyone in. And at that moment, I realized how serious it got for a second, and how close I probably was to getting an emergency C-section to get him out. But as soon as I started huffing that oxygen, he leveled out. He was fine. He was just being really dramatic. He did not like the pushes. And so she's like, okay, breathe that oxygen for 30 minutes. We will try again later. We'll wait till he like moves further down. So we're like, we're gonna do what the boy wants, okay? We do as the boy wants. So I go back to sleep, and I get another great, like, 4 hours of sleep, no pain. And in the morning, about 9 a.m., because I slept like the whole time, about 9 a.m., she's like, okay, we're gonna wait for the natural urge to push at this point. And they were giving me, oh yeah, when I got my epidural, they started giving me Pitocin to help with the contractions. So they gave me like a little bit more Pitocin at 9 a.m., but I was already 10 centimeters. Everything else was ready to go. He just hadn't moved down enough, and they were like, the lower down he goes, the less time you have to push, because the further you have to push them out. So I'm like, that makes sense. So I wait and I wait. Finally, about like 10:30 in the morning, I was like, yeah, starting to feel like that urge. So she's like, awesome, let's do some more practice pushes, and we're gonna get your doctor in here. And I requested a mirror because, like I said, I couldn't feel anything. And I thought, if I have a mirror, I might be able to see what I'm doing when I'm pushing, and if I can see the effects of him coming out, it might help me. So they wheel in this big old mirror, and I'm like, also, I don't know, maybe it's just me, I want to see my child coming into the world, as graphic and gross as it might be. I think I've earned that right. Everyone's their own person. You might not want to see that, but I wanted to see it. It's my body, my kid. So we start doing some pushes. Because he had freaked out at the last pushes, my doctor was like, let's do every other contraction rather than pushing on every contraction. So we did every other contraction. I asked again, how long does it take on average first time moms to push? She said 1 to 4 hours, 1 to 3 hours, something like that. Once again, I started manifesting a fast, smooth, tearless journey. I pushed him out in 27 minutes, just under half an hour. I think pretty darn fast. 1 second-degree tear, which the doctor said that's pretty standard for a first-time mom. And I feel like had I pushed on every contraction, I could have gotten him out even faster. But he came out quietly, but breathing. And then when they started like doing the little tests on him, crying very loudly, he had a big old cone head. And I saw him come out. It was insane and awesome. And this little alien guy came out, and they put him on my chest, and I remember saying hi to him, and then I just couldn't control myself, and I started crying louder than him. I just couldn't help it. And everyone was so sweet. They're like, just cry, it's fine. It was just like a flood of emotions and hormones. And he was so angry and sad looking. But he, passed his little APGAR test with flying colors. He was 7 pounds and 4 ounces. And I, at birth, was 7 pounds 2 ounces. So he's just a little bit bigger than I was. Same length. We were both about 20.5 inches long. And his head was decently sized. I don't remember the size, but I know it was in like the 75th percentile or something. So he wasn't a huge baby, and honestly, this didn't surprise me too much, because for every ultrasound I had, he had measured right at about the 50th percentile mark, like straight down the middle. So he continued to be straight down the middle at birth. And yeah, I will say, okay, they took the epidural out, we did skin to skin, golden hour. They did his little newborn checks and his little eye drops. He got to do skin to skin with his dad, which is very cute. Taking pictures. Oh, and my husband cut the cord, of course. After we waited a bit of time, I wanted to do a bit of delayed cord clamping. And I called my family to tell them the next generation was here. And after a couple of hours, my nurse was like, all right, I want you to get up and try to go pee. And she had this like fancy little wheelchair thing to get me to the bathroom. And I just like couldn't go. I just like, between like the loss of feeling that was still coming back and everything, and like the soreness down there and whatnot, I just like physically couldn't. And I sat there for like 15 minutes before I told her, I'm giving up, like I can't do this. And she goes, okay, that's fine, I'll get you back in the bed. As I stand up, no joke, this was the scariest part of my whole labor and delivery, and it was post-delivery. As I stood up, I started to lose consciousness, and I lost the sense of who I was, and my hearing dropped. I couldn't hear anything, but I managed to say, like, I don't know where I am. And so she was like, immediately like sat me back down. She had me like huffing alcohol pads or something. She was amazing. She worked like really fast and got me back on the wheelchair thing and got me back in beds and like IV'd me fluids. It took like 5 minutes before I regained like who I was. But it was the scariest 5 minutes of the whole thing, because I remember looking up, the whole world is swimming, and looking at my husband who's holding my son and being like, I know those two are important, but I can't remember why. And then like looking at this little baby being like, I think I had a baby. It was very scary, but she was amazing. Both nurses, my like night nurse and my day nurse, because I had two, because the whole process didn't take that long. I nominated them both for awards because they were the best. So I hope they get some recognition. That passed, and that was again the scariest part of the whole deal. And we were able to leave the next day. My blood pressure came down a bit, but it was still elevated, so they gave me a blood pressure cuff to take home, and they're like, we want you to monitor at home. So they asked if I wanted to go home the next day. They're like, you can stay another day, we can go home. And I just felt like I would have recovered better at home. I won't lie, I was feeling really bad. Every time I got up, like to go to the bathroom, or to like, I tried to stay in bed honestly, but like whenever I needed to get up, I found it very, very difficult. Like not only was I in quite a bit of pain, but I was really short of breath, and my heart would like race. So I was a bit nervous. We were monitoring me for, more high blood pressure symptoms and all that, but it was low enough that they discharged me. They discharged him. He was doing great. He was doing phenomenally. So because I had such an easy pregnancy and such a pretty easy birth and an easy baby, he latched immediately. I tried breastfeeding like 5 minutes after he was born, and he latched instantly, which was so cute. He's a great eater. He's really good at it. I had to compensate, I guess, by having a rough recovery. So I won't lie to you, I had a rough recovery. Went home, and the first night at home was tough. The second night was even harder. Everyone says the second night syndrome is like the worst. And for me, it was really bad, and I had some really bad sundown scaries. Really high anxiety in the middle of the night. And in the morning, my blood pressure had been going down. That next morning, it was the highest it had been, period. Even higher than it was in the hospital. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna monitor this, and if it gets worse, I'm gonna call my doctor or something. It did not get better, and I started feeling physically very bad, very short of breath, very fast heart rate. So my doctor was like, yeah, I would just go back to labor and delivery. So I'm like, all right, not what I wanted to do, but I went back. You know what, I was like, I am not gonna be like oh, we'll be fine, I can handle it. Like, no, now a little person needs me. And I have to be as healthy as I can for this little person. So I'm like, I don't feel right. I'm trusting my body. There's something wrong. I'm going back to the hospital. Please listen to your body. Listen to yourself, okay? Don't ignore that. I went back. They took my blood pressure. They're like, it's high. It's not emergency level high, but it is high. We're gonna get you some medication. Yada yada. But then the doctor came back after doing labs, because I think they were checking for a pre, which I was really worried about. And he comes back and he goes, you are severely anemic. Severely anemic. And he looked really deadly serious when he said that. And I was like, oh. Okay, I was worried about my blood pressure. I didn't realize I was so anemic. And honestly, he was like, why did they discharge you? And they discharged me because my doctor said later my iron levels were normal to be expected after giving birth. They gave me an iron supplement. They're like, take this iron supplement once a day. He was like, no, you need a transfusion. you need more iron, because he said, I remember the iron pills, the supplements I was taking, I was so anemic they would not do anything. There was no iron to be boosted. So they gave me an iron transfusion. Immediately I felt better. Like immediately. It was great. He gave me this huge iron supplement that he was like, I want you to take this 3 times a day. And blood pressure medication. So I will report and say, since then, I have gradually been on the up. I take my iron supplements. My blood pressure is normal again. So I'm thinking I can probably come off that medication. The iron, I know takes a really long time to get back to normal levels, so I'll probably be on that for a while. But I'm feeling fantastic. Now, like I said, I'm over 3 weeks in, and I feel night and day better. Like, I actually feel like I can walk around now. I go for walks. I cleaned the house for the first time yesterday. We've been cleaning here and there. I feel like I did a full house clean yesterday, and it was amazing. So my mental health has just skyrocketed. I feel great. My anxiety is gone, but I'm so glad I went back to the hospital the second time, even though I did not want to go. The last thing I wanted to do 2 days after giving birth, 3 days after giving birth, was go back to the hospital. But I'm so glad I did. Really, really glad I did. So, we've just been, we've been chilling at home, doing newborn baby things. He practices focusing on stuff on his little black and white books. He's waking up to feed all the time. He's a very big eater. So normally newborns lose a bit of their body weight after birth, water weight, stuff like that. He lost 1%. He didn't even lose a full ounce upon discharge. But then when we went in for his pediatrician appointment the next day, he had lost more. And they're like, well, come back tomorrow, because it was almost the weekend. They were like, come back tomorrow and let's weigh him again. And he had lost even more the next day. So they were like, I think to be safe, let's supplement some formula. And I'm no judgment against formula. I wanted to exclusively breastfeed, but I'm like, if he needs to be supplemented with a little formula, I gotta do whatever I can to feed my baby. So we supplemented the next day until my milk came in, basically, because I was still producing colostrum at that point, and I felt like I was not producing much. But my milk came in the day after supplementing the formula, so I stopped giving him that and I switched to just breast milk. And when he went in for his appointment on the next Monday, he had put on 9 ounces over the weekend. It's crazy. I was so proud of him, and they were super happy. They're like, that's fantastic, you clearly got a good supply, he's feeding really well. So normally it takes babies up to 2 weeks to regain their birth weight. When he went for his 2-week appointment, he was over a pound over his birth weight. So from 7 pounds and 4 ounces to at 2 weeks, 8 pounds and 6 ounces. I was so proud. Proud of him, but proud of myself. Because breastfeeding is hard. It is, anyone out there who's done it, I applaud you. Anyone out there who's decided to stop doing it, I don't judge you. It's a hard thing. Waking up every 2 hours, round the clock, day or night, that is hard, okay? It's hard. But we're doing it. Over 3 weeks in, and he's getting chunky, so he's clearly still feeding really well, and I'm really pleased. He's got his 1-month appointment next week. I'm very excited to see how much he weighs now. I didn't get a scale at home because I knew that would exacerbate my anxiety if he wasn't gaining as fast as I thought he would or should. So I didn't get a scale. So just sticking to pediatrician appointments. Hopefully this is the last time I have to do this. But lengthwise, oh my god. He gained over an inch from birth to the 2-week appointment. And I've measured him again since. So he's sitting at like the 95th percentile in terms of length. Long baby, basically. So he's not like a super chunky like baby, but he's like really long. That doesn't surprise me. Both me and his dad were both tall people, so I figure he'll be a tall kid, and he's a long baby. Honestly, he's incredible. He is the sweetest, easiest baby. He's really not fussy. He's going through a growth spurt right now, so he's like a little bit slightly fussier, but he's just, he's a baby. I don't blame him. He's very easy to soothe, though. I can pick him up and hug him. He loves to sleep on me. It's his favorite spot, but also he's really good at sleeping in his bassinet. Thank goodness. I know a lot of people struggle out there to get their babies to sleep in the bassinet, but he's a pro, honestly. I just put on a sound machine, swaddle him, kiss him, maybe like, stroke his head like this, talk to him a bit, and he falls asleep if he wasn't already asleep and stayed asleep. So I'm truly blessed in that regard. So sleep deprivation is still there, but it's getting better. Coffee's helping, and I'm starting to feel really like myself again, which is great because 3 weeks ago I felt so bad. I thought I was never gonna feel normal again when I was really anemic and all that. I was like, oh my god, I'm never gonna recover. I was having really dark thoughts, but I got help. I asked for help. I recognized that I was not doing okay, and I received help, and now I'm doing much better. So good enough to film this because I've been wanting to film it for a while, but I haven't been feeling up to it. But I am now. So we're having a great time. Just going for walks, talking to him, singing to him, trying to do a little tummy time. And he's just my little guy. I've already been playing Baldur's Gate again. We started playing like a week after I gave birth. Less than a week, I think. And sometimes I wear him like this while I play. There's a little picture I'll put in. And he's just so good. Either that or I've got like a pack and play back here and I'll sleep in the pack and play. He's iffier in sleeping in the pack and play than in his bassinet. But sometimes he'll sleep in that while we play Baldur's Gate. I take him for walks. And all that. So yeah, basically I've been trying to do some normal stuff. I went to my book club last week. Did a girls' movie night last night. He just slept on me the whole time. We're having the best time. I love being his mother. I love it. I love our family. I'm very, very, very happy. And I'm really excited that I got to share him and our little story with you. So, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say. I will pop in now and then and maybe film a video with him, like playing games, because I thought during my maternity leave I might want to film a video here and there, and I'll probably just wear him like this. So it's funny, I've been whispering and talking quietly on this channel for like over a decade, but this is the first time I kind of have a reason to talk quietly or to whisper, because there's a little sleeping person here. And I mean, for those who don't know, this baby would not exist without the ASMR community, because his dad and I met through ASMR back in 2013, January of 2013. Long time ago we met and fell in love and got married a few years later, and we waited a really long time to have him. We wanted to feel ready. So he's not like, obviously I'm not the first ASMR artist to have a baby, and I don't think we're even the first two ASMR artists to have a baby together. I think of, Maria and Daryl, but there's definitely not a lot out there. There's not a lot of children born from ASMR artists, from two, even though my partner does not make ASMR anymore, but it's how we met. We met through having channels together. So I'm super curious. Will he experience ASMR? Will it be genetic? And will I be able to continue to put him to sleep? The ultimate test of my whispering ability. Wish me luck, guys. Alright, thank you guys so much for all the sweet well wishes. You guys have been really patient with me and lovely and sweet, and I hope you continue to enjoy all the content, the maternity leave content I've made for you all back when I was pregnant. Yeah, thank you for listening. Me and little Éomer's story. He's just the sweetest boy in the world. And yeah, we will talk to you later. Thank you for watching. Say bye bye, night night.